don't know if you can hear what I hear or see what I see, but I'm telling you, this is American freedom. And I love it! I'm out here. Love it.
So a friend, acquaintance recently, Max, he took me to a property. This is alongside the rough road. You can see, I'm out here in the boonies. Like to be out in the boonies. The Goonies and the boonies. And there's my steel blue bullet. Gets me from here to there. Some other people are also enjoying this unbelievable spot on Earth. And I've done some thinking, of course. And if you can see, if I can get it to zoom here a little bit, way up there, that's a rapid waterfall over that short distance. Now, the water supplied to that has to be at least another 10 feet higher, pooled up there somewhere and coming off of the mountain, probably from several springs also and stuff feeding it. So at this point, where we are, alongside the road, multiple spots where it pools and water falls down, rapids. I'd love to have property on either side of this creek. I'd like to have it on both sides of the road, but it wouldn't matter. Just one side down that creek would be beautiful. The Rapierian law allows me to use this water even now. To give you an example. So I get myself, and I've priced this. I usually think about my things and think them out a little bit. Actually look and see if it's possible, what it's going to cost. And then I'll have variations on that. Keeps me busy. There's a 500-foot roll of quarter-inch PEX. It's, I'm sorry, not PEX, garden hose. And it's about $47, I think it is, $40. One of them's half-inch for $50-some, and I think the quarter-inch was a lot cheaper, ending up about $40. And it's my estimation that it's about 500 feet up to that water above that waterfall at that distance to the spot where I'm standing, where it goes through the ducting and then comes out the other side. So the Rapierian water rights allow me to have access to either side of that water all the way down and on those rocks in that water, as long as I'm not breaking the law, harming the environment, the waterway, altering, putting in anything permanent like it's my own or something. Like that stack of stone right there, I'm not allowed to tear that down. People can get upset about that, and that's a legal issue. I wouldn't do that. But what I was thinking is I take that roll, I could go right up the bank there within the rights, and then like that path, there's a path right here that goes across from that area. Then I could just, like a stick laying across it, I just put some mounds of dirt and some vine, some dead stuff on it, so that it can be walked across, and it won't hurt the pecs, pinch it up, and it'll just look natural. I run her across there, run her on the bank, and use the short spikes to stick and hold it into place as it goes up, all temporary. And then we'll have about 50 foot ahead, a bee about got me, 50 foot ahead at that point, in a 1/4-inch pipe to run a collector up there to where there's a volume of water putting pressure on that, get a little hydraulic pressure value, and then break it down to the 1/4-inch. And then we're going to get speed. We're going to get some pressure. It's going to want to push a lot of water through there. And then using the siphon to take and jet it even further along this side of a cotton picking, a venturi, creating that siphon by using the excess water in this flow. And you can see it's coming out, you know. Look at that first drop right there. And that's probably where I would take and do it if I wanted to use it for another purpose. But since my idea is to just create a little bit of low-level electricity here to do some lighting for this where it's eroding, you know, right next to the duct, right next to the road. 2 cars come down here, swerve, boop, you know, don't know your edges, and you end up in a place you don't want to be. So on this side, the output side is the more logical side to pull the power from. It's the lowest point. And so what I was thinking of using, I have 2 12-volt, 10-watt, half-inch generators, little turbine generators. And I got cheap, and I used those here. I had to push about 12 volts, 20 watts, and that should be enough with, it should be enough by itself, but even if it's not, the plan is to use a storage source. And I think I build a small capacitor bank to be a battery to charge and release for in stages, like 12 hours. So with a light sensor and adjusting the light sensor to the switch, then at the time you need the lights coming across here to be able to see a little bit, the low-level lights, they turn on. And then when the morning, when it doesn't need it, it'll turn off. All the rest of the time it's charging back up. So I won't need a huge bank to go for 24 hours, just to maybe just do a maximum of 12 hours, I think, 12, 14 hours, you know, because here in the woods probably gets darker sooner and lighter later. So much, anyway, it's really cheap to do this. And the LED lighting to put right here on this side of the road where it's the narrowest. More erosion at that point, I think, too, from what I've seen. So you see the sign. So there's public access along that side of the road. Those are public signs. This is a county road. And so at this point, I have full access to do what I want right down that stream and right up the stream the other side. So I was thinking I'd take and over here at this pole, and I'd straddle this just right at its edge, put rebar. You know, of course, I'll coat it, paint it before I put it in. I don't want it to rust right there like at the last, so that's what I do with rebar when I'm going to use it. I coat it with something, sometimes a lubricant, that's going to take and protect it from doing any more rusting for quite some time. Anyway, and run it this full length over to here. I think we're looking at about 30 feet. Take the LED lights from the power I pull off of that side over there, and run the LED lights, and then one piece of rebar there, one piece of rebar here, and pull the, I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to use for a line, whether it be rope. I think it's stretched too much. I need it kind of stiff, so I might use some kind of wire, but I'm not sure yet. That's fabrication for you. And then use the LED lighting to make a sign, and using the wire to take and hold the LED lighting in the shape that I try and put across this area. Get it a little distance. You can see it. if you can see that or not. There's a sign to the right here. Yeah, right in that area, between those signs. Pretty much what I'm saying. And then have the word hope. I think it would run, it's total cost, I think it's going to run you maybe $60. And they'll be able to see, drive up and down this road, be able to recognize this side, just enough low-level lighting to show the other side too. Of course, you already have the signs, you know, and usually that's wherever there's something like this, there's going to be some signage. It's going to help you on both sides, but it's that in between and how much room do you have, and you know, it's beautiful. If you want to stop, get out, you feel a little safer, got a little bit of low-level lighting. And guess how many years that'll run? Yeah, cool, ain't it? It'll run a long time. Now, with the right equipment, which I've already designed, it wouldn't even have any moving parts. You can get rid of the turbine, use a different design for the power generator, and it would be one of those where there's just no friction. It just runs. I already have, someone has a barbecue thing up here, and it's like a faded, worn out, no trespassing sign. So somebody probably already owns it. But I just take one side. The hill. I was looking at that. I'll take the hilly part. As long as it runs by the creek. Yep. Or over here, or there. It'd be amazing. Now this would be special if I was able to pick up the land on the right of this creek. And I'll explain that. You know, I keep going with thoughts. Yeah, I love to think these ideas. Anyway, you can tell that they've cut this down. It's easy to see now that the runoff from the road, which they need proper drainage designed into the road, comes down right there and goes down that little overflow like trough there. And I'm sure it meets up there someplace. Now, that is beautiful. That is perfect. It's already told me what to do and where. Now, this area here gets wet. There's so much force off of this, I'm sure it floods up here a little bit, and it pushes right off of this, and there's nowhere for it to go. The lowest point is right here, right next to that creek. So when it pushes up high enough, hard enough anyway, to come down there and push it, you have to go up there and erode that out eventually. That's because of the road that's been put in, and the drainage that's creating a new circumstance. Then this is getting eroded and rutted out even more also than what it used to. It used to be trees on all this, and hill and everything. Didn't do it this bad. So using the existing issues and routing them, I've got a whole trough running right down there. It has nothing to do with riparian rights. It joins in, dig this, I can see, I think, parts of it, joins in way down the creek there. And anybody who knows anything about hydraulics, you know, and natural venturis or anything that can come to mind can see the advantage of that. You see the obvious advantage of that type of control of water coming onto your property, and it's drying up now, so you see it's not all the time, but just, you know, wham. And I can store that and use it over time. I could probably run a hotel with this. Many rooms. Wouldn't put one up here. but might have enough family and friends up here. Small one. And probably more like little cabins big enough for a few people. Spread around. Standalones. Now I'm yakking my head off. And probably type this part out. But here also like to multiply capabilities and control function without disturbing it. Now this here is 2 pipes trying to get into a good angle. There we go. And you'll notice the natural rise in the dry spot of the gravel right here. Yes, a little bit up. Yeah, right above the pipe there's buzzing out. And you can see the strength of the flow through into this one. Right now there's some limbs going across, blocking some of the flow and routing some of the flow, but not much of it. I could just leave that there. But what I thought of doing was, there are different kinds of dams. One's to control overflow. So I could put a little overflow dam right there so that most of the water, a higher level than it is right now, because most of it would be going down that, would go down that, and only when it gets certain height would it come over and go into this one. But I have to do that by putting some rocks in this area all the way up to account for the rise. But from the drop of this right here, you may be able to see. It's not very far up. It's at right in the center of the screen. It's a rock right there, right around that point, right above that. Wouldn't have to go very far. They're 12 feet. And there's plenty of stone, plenty of rock. Not in the creek. I could bring it from up here. And use what exists. Now by doing that, I'm increasing my flow rate through here. And the reason I do that for the one method, since I don't run clear down the stream, although I just run out to the duct on this side. That's this one on the left, and you can see the flow coming out of it. The other one is getting a little bit redirected by that rock. Well, this flow would increase, but right here, where I can access it on top of this pipe, I can put the other end of that hose coming out with the generator on it and the Venturi. And I'm going to get some drive from just the flow of this water coming through there, pushing out the other side. It should, same. I'm not wanting a tremendous amount more than what exists, what's coming down, but I'll have 2 12-volt ones on. I'd like to put more on, so I'd like to stabilize that pressure all the way through and not have it reduced. So both of them run at the same speed, the same torque, and produce the same amount of energy. Yeah, I know it's going to work. Just how far can I take and restrict it before with those pumps and the flow before I start dropping back on and needing that effect. Well, that's American freedom, knowledge for life. Now I'm out.